So I want to do a visualization exercise with you that has the purpose of helping you to increase motivation. So we can do visualizations for a lot of different reasons. For example, we can do them to improve concentration. We can do them for relaxation or stress management. We can do it for injury prevention. There's a lot of different things that we can do visualizations for. So when we do visualizations, we want to first get specific about what our goal is and what our outcome is. And so our goal or our outcome is to increase our motivation for our goals, achieving our goals. So what I thought I would do is it's going to be a two-part. It's going to have two parts. The first part is you're going to need a paper and you're going to need a pencil, because what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you write down some things that are going to be, it's going to be information that you're going to use in the visualization. So we want to get a clear understanding of where you are now with the goal and where you're going and what kinds of things that you want to incorporate within that visualization. And so if you don't have a pen and paper, you want to get that now. And I want to just, while you're doing that, I want to just kind of talk about the two different types of visualizations, because one of the things I mentioned in one of my, I don't know if it was a video or if it was my podcast, I was talking about how we're all pretty aware of the internal dialogue that we have going on, but a lot of times we're not really aware of the pictures that we're making. And so a lot of times we are not only talking negatively to ourselves, but actually making negative pictures in our mind as well. And so if we don't train our mind to make the positive visualizations for the goals that we're looking for, by default, we're just going to go to these unconscious thought processes about future situations, and it's going to be very random. So it's really important that we make sure that we're not doing things randomly, that we are making a conscious effort to train our brains. Okay, so the other thing I want to mention is that with practice, the visualizations are going to get stronger. And that's something that you'll first start off and you might be kind of looking at your paper. You might be kind of in a little bit of a trance, looking at your paper and trying to get, the visualizations and the auditory and the kinesthetic with everything. But it'll get better. As you practice, you get better and stronger, just like when you're training at the gym. So you know how that works. So this is the same thing. The more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. Okay? So having said that, and you have a piece of paper, so let's just settle in. And I want you to think about an event that you would like to be more motivated for. It could be a competition, it could be a wedding, it could be a party, it could be some event. And just because you're picking an event doesn't mean you're not intrinsically motivated or motivated from within. We are social beings, and so we kind of need events to sort of help move us along a little bit. So we usually use events as markers. And so if an event doesn't come up for you, then think of something that works for you. But event will be just fine. A competition, a wedding, a party, some sort of event that that you want to increase your motivation for. It could be a meeting with someone. Okay. So now what I'd like for you to do is I would like for you to think about, as you think about that event right now, you can just on your paper kind of do two columns, okay? And so on one column, you're going to write present, well, whatever, just, you don't even have to write anything. Just know that this is the column, just kind of default. Let's call it default, and let's do it intentional. So on one side, put default images and then intentional images. I'm just going to make a note of that because I think that's a good word for that. And if you're lucky, you'll see a worksheet that I make for you. So we'll see if I can get that together. So for now, you've got default on one side and intentional on the other. So default. We're thinking about the event that we want more motivation for. And as you think about that event, what comes up for you? Is it an image? Is it a sound? Is it a feeling? What goes on in your internal experience when you think about this particular event that you want to increase your motivation for? What do you look like? What do you look like as you're in self-perspective, inside your body? What are you seeing? What do you look like if you look at yourself as if you're observing yourself? What do you see there? What is your posture like? How are you moving? How are you interacting with other people? What sounds do you hear? And what kind of feelings go along with that? How are you feeling, and what kind of feelings come up for you? Okay, good. Okay, so now we're going to think about what we want. How do we want to be instead? And the reason why I had you do that part is because sometimes we don't really know how we're thinking. Like I said, a lot of our thought processes are actually unconscious and unintentional. So you may have even noticed something like, wow, my posture is kind of like sluggish, my movement's kind of slow. So there might be things that came up that you noticed that you weren't actually aware of before we did that, which will help you when we go to talk about how you want it to be different. Okay? So now I want you to think about this event again. And now imagine you can have this event any way you want it. And I anticipate this interaction right now, you might be sort of pseudo in a trance and also writing things down at the same time. You might be needing to pause. Whatever works for you is fine. So I'm aware that I had asked you to write some stuff down. So think about that event again. You want more motivation, right? You want to feel a certain way. You want to look a certain way. You want to have a certain experience. And you want to be more motivated right now to move forward to achieve that. Is that right? So think about how you would like that experience that's in your mind's eye that hasn't even happened yet. How would you like to improve on that experience? So let's go back to the future, that situation. What would you like to see? What would you like to see from your perspective as you're looking around? What do you see? The ideal scenario, what are you seeing? How are you interacting with people? Jump back in your body into your perspective. How are you inside your body? And as you're looking, what do you see around you? How are you interacting with people? What's going on inside your body? How does your body feel? And for feelings, I might actually jump out of my body to look at my body because I kind of like that kinesthetic visual, sort of like I like how my body feels, but it also looks a certain way, that feeling. So whatever works for you. How does your body feel? And what are you saying to yourself? What kinds of things come up for you? What are you saying to yourself? What are you hearing other people say about you? What's going on? Is there music happening? What's going on that's all the indicators, all the things that are auditory? Okay, good. So now that we have that, I'm going to start the visualization process. We're going to do a visualization to increase your motivation for goal achievement. Put everything down. Get in a safe environment where you're uninterrupted, where you don't need to have your computer on, you don't have your phone on. You're safe and you can sit for a few minutes uninterrupted. And you might have your paper in front of you that you wrote down your visualizations on. And we're going to take a moment just to get present. So I'd like for you to just notice what's in your environment. We're just going to look around the environment for a minute. Notice what's in the environment. Take a look at something. And now let's pick something else, look around. Pick something else. Notice that. And now let's look around and pick something else visually to look at. Good. Now we're going to focus on what we hear. And a few minutes ago you might have been hearing my air conditioner. I've turned it off or had someone turn it off. Visually you'll know what I mean. So what do you hear? And let's find something else that you hear in your environment. There's that. And let's pick one last thing that we hear. There's that. Now let's go into our kinesthetic experience inside our body. And you can use some touch if that helps you. And let's pick an area of our body to focus on. My feet feel a little heavy. That's just what I'm feeling. And let's pick one other thing to focus on inside our body that we're feeling. And one last one, something else that you feel in your body. Good. Now we're going to do just a few minutes of mindful breathing, and you can be aware of what you see, what you hear, what you feel in this present moment. Just realize that in this moment, you don't need anything. I love thinking about that. In this moment, everything is perfect. And just focus on your breathing. Notice your breath. Notice where your breath is coming from. Is it coming from your lower belly? Is it coming from up high in your chest? You might even kind of put your hands on it so you can sort of get a sense of it moving. And we're going to just breathe for just a few more seconds. Well, we're going to breathe continuously, but we're going to focus on breathing for a few more seconds. Good. Nothing to do, just breathing. Feeling the breath, noticing what's around visually, what sounds you hear, and how your body feels. Now I'd like for you to imagine this event in the future, and we're going to visualize it exactly as you want. So I want you to start to think about that event, and what do you notice? This is exactly the way you want it to be. So in your mind's eye, embellish, elaborate. Make it really exactly the way you want. Look around at the people or things. What's going on in the environment? What's happening? Now look at yourself. How do you look? As you look at yourself, what do you look like? What is your posture? What are your mannerisms? What's happening as you're looking at yourself? What do you see? What do you notice? That confidence, that strength, that power. What comes up for you that you're noticing? How you look. And then let's jump into our body and feel what that feels like. How does it feel to be in your body? How does it feel touching the surface of your skin? How does it feel on the inside of your body? And how does it feel emotionally? The emotions that come up for you. What is your breathing like? How are you breathing? What's your level of presence? What's your level of awareness? How are you embodied in this experience? And now let's listen. What do you hear? Any music, any voices? Talking to yourself in an empowering way, hearing other people talk about you, hearing other people talk to you, interacting with people. What do you hear? Music? Can you hear your own breathing? And now as you're seeing, hearing, and feeling everything exactly the way you want it, what values are you expressing in this experience? What's important to you about having this goal specifically in this way? How are you living your life of excellence? What is important to you about this experience? As you're putting them all together, interacting, seeing, hearing, feeling, mixing them all up and moving around exactly the way you want. As you see, hear, and feel everything perfectly. How do you feel knowing that you are living up to your standards? How do you feel knowing that you're embodying your values? And what specifically are you doing? What are your behaviors? And now I want you to go to the day before this event. And what behaviors were you doing the day before this event that led you to have this experience exactly in this way? What behaviors and actions did you take in order to fulfill this experience, fulfill this goal, just the way you have? And now let's go back a week. What behaviors were you doing a week before this event that led up to it, that led up to you behaving the way that you were in that event? And what steps did you take 2 weeks ago? What did you do 2 weeks ago that got you to this point, that you had this experience in such a way that you did? What were you doing a month ago before this event? What were you doing 2 months before this event? Take it back as far as you want and really experience all of the things that you did. The discipline, the structure, all the behaviors that led to this event being exactly the way it is. How did you live with gratitude each day on your way to this event? How did you live with purpose and passion? How did you live with commitment to excellence? How did you do that? And notice how you can have this gratitude even while you're pushing for excellence. Notice how you can be joyful and happy and grateful while you're pushing for excellence. And you can come back to this anytime you like, this experience. And over time, you're going to make it even better in your mind's eye, so that when you experience it in the real world, it will be just like deja vu. It'll be like you've been there before, because you have been there before. And now we're going to say goodbye to our visualization for the moment. Come back to the breathing. Orient back to the sounds and the feelings of this room and the visuals of this room. Open your eyes if your eyes were closed. Look around. Orient to your current environment. Rub your legs. Rub your body if that works for you. Rub your feet on the floor. Stretch your arms over your head. Whatever works for you to get in this moment present. Hi. I hope you enjoyed this visualization exercise.